It is the final showdown of the LJL for the first round robin, the first 4 weeks of our coverage here in LJL Summer 2020, and it is AXIZ versus V3. They have had very different paths coming to this point. One team being 7-0, and the other one being 0-7. I won't need to pin those name tags to those scorelines, though I'm sure we'll get to that in our last discussion before we go into these pick and bans. V3, 7-0. Will they stumble at the final hurdle, or will they retake
some of the best players in the league in V3 versus a squad of role swaps and substitutes that have come in for AXIZ, who are struggling outside of the first 10 minutes of the game? I think it is going to be a whitewash, and I think Boogie has already made AXIZ sweat in the last time they fought out.
Of course they did, and remember that AXIZ, of course, fell down 0-3 to V3 in the first round of playoffs in the spring playoffs, and as much as it was a Cinderella story, V3 brought the crushing reality of the LJL to them. So, Lexi, this is not going to be a shutout. If there's not going to be a run-over game, what do AXIZ need to do? What do they need to change to bring this to V3?
Eunyan can't lose lane against Archer. Like, that just parity at minimum, ideally win lane, which it's a big ask. And Natsume has to go net neutral. Gadiaru has to destroy Ace. And Hoglet just gank and get some good ganks off. And that's the only way I can think it goes. And everything I said just doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah. Because it seems like there's a lot of vague pieces need to fit together somehow. And that's the hard bit, fitting all these individual micro victories together. And AXIZ have been struggling to find those micro victories even then. V3, on the other hand, are winning all of those micro victories. On that point, either of you feel free to pick this up. What picks are you looking to see? And more importantly, actually, does V3 need to show anything new? Of course, they probably don't. But are they likely to show anything new here?
I would like to look specifically at Ace, because I think AXIZ, if they've got a game plan, I think it will be around Gary where they potentially have some ways in. But to do that, you need to make sure Ace sticks around lane a little bit. And that means you need to get him off his Karma, off his Galio. If you can do that, maybe there are some options, and maybe there's a chance, therefore, on the flip side of that coin, for Ace to show us something a little bit different from those two picks as well.
I mean, in my eyes, Ace can also just play that LeBlanc and just take it to Gadiaru in the skill matchup.
Or Syndra.
Yeah, and the Syndra. Like, he can definitely play these high skill intensive champions, and he's beaten Gadiaru in the 1v1 in the skill matchup. So, if you want the gauntlet to be thrown down initialized, I think Ace will happily do that as well against AXIZ.
Hey, I'm not saying it's easy, but that would be the option to go for.
Oh, absolutely.
I have to say, if you look back to that playoffs best of 5, actually Gadiaru was probably the one shining light of AXIZ versus V3. So potentially, if it is going to happen, it might be through that mid lane. I'm going to cut to the chase, guys. I don't think I need to ask for your predictions. I will ask you, however, to cast this pick and ban phase. Let's cut over to it. Let's get this to week 4 consigned to the history books. Enjoy yourselves, and let's see how this split.
Thank you again, Nymera. Before we go any further, I am afraid I'm going to have to put a content warning on this particular game. The age rating will be increasing due to some of the traumatic scenes that we might be seeing as V3 look to go 8-0 and put AXIZ 0-8. It's going to be a rough one for AXIZ unless they step the hell up. We've said what they need to do. But for now, it will be AXIZ on the blue side, and it will be Natsume in the top lane, Hoglet in the jungle, Gariaru in mid, and of course, Eunyan and Corporal as the bot.
Yeah, and for V3 Esports, we've got Paz in that top lane, Boogie in the jungle, Ace in the mid lane, Archer as their bot lane carry, and Rainer as their support. And we've got some pick and bans coming in quick and fast.
Well, the Nidalee is taken away from Boogie. He destroyed Hoglet on the first game of the split where these two played out. Galio is away from Ace. We've already seen how damn good he is at that champion. We saw his stats in the first game V3 played. Set, as well as something that Reiner has been damn good at, of course. Over on the other side, it will be the Fiddlesticks away from Axe, which you've seen occasionally around alongside the LeBlanc and the Varus. First pick, though, was that Volibear.
Volibear first pick. Interesting that it looks like V3 are just going to hone in on the Ashe, as we've seen many Ashes be very good into both Aphelios and Ezreal, and even the Kalista now. So lots of options open. So apparently Ashe is now the queen of the bot lane, maybe.
Well, certainly at least into the other champions which have been considered really S tier, right? And that's sometimes the way you get when you stay on a patch for as long as we have right now, where you suddenly start to find counters to the things that people thought were unbeatable. Hoglet, you beautiful man, log that in for me and I will be forever your friend. But until that time, we will have to point out that Ace has got his Syndra.
So, they banned his Galio. He could have played Karma. But decided, nah, I think they already know what the gauntlet was, and they decided to ban Galio's LeBlanc, picking the Syndra into the obvious Zoe. Wait a second. Jin?
Well, the fourth pick overall will be
ever.
Fourth champion of, well, the man who just loves four in general. It's Jin locked in for Uinyan. All right. So, we'll see how this continues to play out. I kind of lost my stream for a second here, so you may need to take over briefly.
So we got Galio.
Oh, no, I'm back. There we go. That is, in fact, the Echo.
Okay, so we got the Echo coming in for Galio.
Technical difficulty.
Oh, I'm here. Do not worry, sir. I'm guessing you still can't hear me.
I think it's just my ping being a little atrocious.
Okay.
I can hear you, just the ping being bad.
Okay, ping being bad. Well, to finish up, it looks like Galio or Hoglet will be grabbing this Echo as a flex pick, and then we've got Ace looking in the Thresh for Reina. So we're going to have that Thresh Ashe lane that we've seen so many times. And V3 decided to ban the Nautilus against Corporal again. Corporal looked pretty solid on that Corporal in their last game versus the Hawks. So makes sense to at least take any form of comfort away from the enemy side.
Yeah, and I think Gary Arrow is indexed towards this Echo. We know he plays a champion pretty well. And as far as I know, Echo's a pretty good matchup into Syndra as far as I'm aware. Of course, Ace is still 6-1 all-time on that Syndra. He's got a 13.4 KDA. Man is a monster on that champion. Just
that is wild.
Manages to find ways to be really damn good on that champion.
Yeah, those kind of stats should not be taken lightly. That is kind of crazy how strong those stats are from him. Blitz, Wukong being banned against for Paz, and Corporal again getting banned for that Blitzcrank. And Rek'Sai is lastly brought in against banning against Boogie. I don't think we've seen the Rek'Sai yet once for him.
Yeah, and bit of a fun stat as well that production is showing us. It is, in fact, a 73% win rate versus Syndra over 15 games for this season. So there is a bit of a matchup discrepancy there with the Echo versus Syndra, which is good news on paper. But of course, we know how good Ace is at that champion. So that could be something. And of course, we've now got to reckon with Boogie's Lee Sin. And the 1v1 is something in the mid lane. But when it comes to V3, it tends to be a 2v2. These two guys have been syncing up so damn well. Set up from the Syndra lanes that your Sonic Wave lands without much issue. Could be danger here for Gary Ari.
It could be huge danger. Everyone should be suddenly shouting, "Oh no!" Because Boogie on Lee Sin is one of the few Lee Sin players where you genuinely dread it when he's locked it in. AXIZ decided to not ban the Lee Sin. They decided, you know what? We're going to ban the Rek'Sai. Maybe they forgot about Lee Sin, but it's Boogie. And, well, AXIZ have gone for the scared point of view, and they've picked Leona and Aatrox to say, tank, don't die, please.
That's one way of putting it, that's for sure. They've got lots of hard engage between the Volibear and the Leona. That I can see where that's going to be going. Of course, on the other side, though, will be the Renekton locked in for V3. It's a standard of Paz. It's a good front line. It's a strong laner. You can play weak side with it. You can play strong side with it. It's not a bad duo up with the Lee Sin either. I think V3 are going to be walking away pretty happy with this draft. Lots of strong lanes for Boogie to start invading around.
Boogie, so we know how we said Ace's all-time Syndra is 13. Boogie's Lee Sin is 13 KDA just in this season, going 5-1.
Damn, that's pretty good going.
Like, AXIZ had done this in the correct spots where maybe it's always correct to look in the Syndra or when she's been super, super tuned. Boogie just does this on a champion that's out right now and has not changed really much over the last few patches. That's absurd how good he is on this champion. It's absurd.
Oh, he is so damn good. But I think before that, have a little bit of a word about these two team comps. We've seen them. Some unusual stuff in from AXIZ, and we know they like to innovate a little bit. Jin Leona. It's a bot lane. What are your thoughts on that right now into the Ashe Thresh?
Comfort is what I'm assuming. I'm assuming, one, this is a lane that they have practiced a bunch in scrims. I'm purely talking out of my wazoo, as I would say, but you have to assume Eunyan is comfortable on this champion, and Corporal is playing Leona purely for protection purposes. If Corporal could have played Thresh, I imagine would have played Thresh, but Reiner took that away before Corporal even had the opportunity. Hoglet, though, a repeat on this Volley Bear. And you said you were actually kind of okay with him on this champion in their last game.
Yeah, I thought he played pretty well. We kind of saw what he managed to get done early, and I think he's going to have to versus Boogie's Lee Sin. And Volley Bear can brawl really well early versus something like a Lee Sin as well. You've got tank, you've got stun. It can be pretty good there. Jin, though, not the most fantastic stats. It's a 1.3 KDA and a 0.4 overall win rate in this season. That's not good start, but, you know, I suppose attack speed slows means significantly less when you're Jin. You're just looking for that fourth shot trade anyway. It's gone fleet footwork for a little bit more sustain. And hell, with your W lockup, you can definitely duo up with the Leona super well to keep people locked down. I can see why Archer has indexed into the cleanse in this lane.
What's also cool to note is Exhaust did get buffed in between patch 10. So between season 9 and season 10, not across this season, but that did hurt also Jin's just playability due to just having an increased attack speed just destroyed. It hurts him a lot more, so because the duration just goes longer. If it's longer, then less attacks can happen, which means Jin don't like it.
Well, yeah, especially because Jin just attacks. He is on those 4 bullets that are so key to the way that champion works, and that can be problematic, I guess, when you're trying to find your way to those damage trades and you just get you could just deny his 4th shot so much easier, basically.
Exactly.
With that extended duration. It's a bit frustrating.
Oh, hugely. We're seeing here red side for both junglers rotating around. Interesting. I thought Hoglet started on blue side last time. I'm guessing wherever you can get a leash might be the case.
Definitely does mean that Boogie will be around this bot lane to impact it, though, significantly early. And Reiner stepping forward early on, keeping AXIZ away from the wave. And Boogie, level 3, doesn't even bother, or rather, not even level 3, rather, level 2, looking for the early level 2 gank here. Can he even find it? AXIZ and playing pretty safe down here on the bot side, though. So the look in is just that, a look, no more to be found. And level 2 gain first for V3 as AXIZ's bot lane realize they're playing weak side, realize how V3 want to play, and will stay safe under the tower.
Hail of Blades for Echo is the only thing I'm a little bit surprised around. I guess Phase Rush... No, Phase Rush Cinder is actually pretty normal, because you're easy to get your combo, and then if you get engaged on, you can run in or you can run out, depending on what's happening there. Oh my.
Okay. Well, we knew it was coming, but there it is. It's the 80% win rate chance of Twitter's votes. And you can sort of see that Hail of Blade is something that Gary Arrow does like to go towards. He's played that a few times, did it in playoffs as well, did it versus the, I think it was Saros' Azir as well at some point.
I think it was, yeah.
Didn't work out, of course, but we're seeing an early gank onto Paz. This is Hoglet coming in, trying to get that Sky Splitter down. Doesn't quite get the stun, though. Paz very low, but doesn't have the flash. No pots, though, will at least force the recall and may force the teleport out nice and early.
Yeah, production rightly points out Phase Rush is also partly just due to the fact that for melee champions who want to get on top of a Syndra, what's a good way to do that? Just be fast. You got to be like Sonic. You got to go fast.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more common. I can see Ace saying, yeah, I know what they want to do, and I want nothing to do with it. And Ace does tend to index in towards those slightly more defensive options that he loves. His Spellbound, he's done this quite a lot across the split, and it kind of makes sense with how he likes to play.
Oh, Really does. We're going to be seeing probably not much happening until the next minute. I imagine Boogie's going to index pretty hard on getting this dragon.
Well, Gary gone forwards, though, and that could put Gary in a difficult spot. The Sonic Wave does land. Here we go. Parallel convergence is there. Will Gary stick around for it? He does get the shield, but even so, takes a lot of his health bar, and that's a bit of a rough space. Of course, Gary with the flash burned there critically.
Yeah, and Boogie looks like he's hungry or interested in at least trying to pressure him. I think if Gary is not careful, Boogie might try and get the kill. Oh, steals it. Man,
that's
dirty.
That's just frustrating. And Hoglet's can be like, well, that was mine. Not anymore. It's not. And that's what Boogie is using the forced recall at Gary to do. Come and irritate Hoglet. Teleport will now be coming back in for Gary, but I'm assuming Ace is going to be looking for at least a Q trade there. A little bit low on mana to think about a scan of the week after.
Yeah, a little bit late. I imagine this is just now going to be a delayed back. Interesting. He probably could have done a... he couldn't have done a cheater recall due to Gariadu using that TP. So this is the next best thing. Force the TP out, and then you go back yourself, and then probably TP back into lane and just trade the TPs as it would be.
So despite Paz being forced back early, by the way, I mean, it was a big wave here for Natsume to pick up, but never mind, because that is just a lot of CC on a Gary Arrow. The three-man goon squad works up, and the top side might be a response here for AXIZ. He's going to flash into the Sky Splitter, and Hoglet gets that kill with a rapid flash. 1-for-1 across the board, but first blood goes the way of V3 after they catch out Gary Arrow in mid.
That is what Hoglet is going to literally be sitting there going to Gary Arrow going, man, why couldn't you survive for like an extra like 10 seconds? Then I get the first blood gold. But now Boogie's got it, and that's scary, as they also now know that Hoglet was in that top lane. They can get this dragon for free, and this whole time, Archer's just been getting solo experience and farm. What?
Yeah, they've held it as a bit of a freeze here as well, just wasting as much experience and forcing Yan and Corporal in a bit of a difficult space. Check this replay out. We're going to look towards the top side as Natsume and Paz go head-to-head as Hoglet turns up.
So it looks like it's mostly just everything. Natsume and Paz can probably just do this standard 1v1 fight, and Natsume might have even won the 1v1, but Hoglet comes in. Flash traded for Hoglet. Was not confident that his storm? What's the storm called? Do you know?
Sky Splitter is...
It's Sky Splitter, okay.
Is that Thunderstorm also? Sky Splitter, yeah.
Okay.
Frenzied Maul's the W. Thundering Smash is the key. Stormbringer is the ultimate.
So Sky Splitter, obviously, I guess he wasn't confident that Sky Splitter was actually going to hit Paz. I think it was pretty much a lock, but better to flash and to make sure, I guess.
Yeah, it was going to be very close, and if you didn't flash for it and you lost the kill, that would have been really, really sad. Hoglet, though, has got level 6, looking for something down in this bot side, but decides instead he's going to go towards the recall. Big CS lead here up for Archer, partly off the back of that freeze. Similar in mid lane, though, with the World Ender actually popped there from Natsume to maybe look for something in mid lane. But not to be found, alas. Ace now ticking over to level 7. Was a little behind Gary Arrow, but that's probably what you get for sharing XP with 3 people coming in to gank your lane.
Executioner's calling in as first main item for Paz. No one's surprised about that, I expect.
Oh, no. Boogie's around and about looking again. He's just ticked
board.
level 6. Gonna go in and instead get this blue buff. Ace is gonna wander over, and that will be a trade off to V3. But wait, they're on vision. Hoglet, Gary Arrow, and Natsume are now roaming down. Boogie's got to be very aware. He's now on vision. AXIZ are looking for the fight. Here comes Pass down as well. But that's a big stun onto Natsume. He's already taken very low before this fight begins. In goes Hoglet with the Stormbringer. Corporal coming up with Uinyan. Get the stun down. But that's a massive Cull the Meek. And Paz picks up one with Boogie there. The rest of the fight's coming. Here comes the Ash Arrow. And Ace just about survives that just around. But Uinyan gets a kill onto Ace in the back of it. But look at Boogie running rampant at the end of the fight.
This is 3v5!
Uinyan trying desperately to get some kills. Paz does escape over the wall with a slice, and now Boogie lands another Sonic Wave. Uinyan cannot win this fight in the 1v2, gets the root with the deadly flourish, but instead it's curtains for the man of the theatre. It's going to be 4 kills. No, probably 5 actually as Hoglet falls. And I think, what, was 1 kill onto Ace, and that was it for AXIZ in that fight.
That fight was 3v5 for that whole fight. And yet, for some reason, somehow V3 come up on top versus the 5 members of AXIZ. It was stuttered. It was not the cleanest of fights. outside of Ace doing a huge amount, almost solo killed Natsume with just the ultimate here. Paz just zoning very well, popping the Dominus, and then is able to get 1, 2 here, and then Unyan and Corporal come in after the rest of the members of AXIZ have already died. They do kill Ace, which is important, but Ace is able to do a huge amount of damage on here. Paz and Boogie are now just able to kill Corporal, and then later go over onto Unyan. Oh my, Boogie just lands so many important skill shots, but then in all fairness, as did Ace, as did Paz. It's just phenomenal. This whole time, Archer and Reiner were just chilling in bot lane. Just chilling. They did try and fire a shot. Look at that. What the hell is that damage?
5v3 and V3 come out on top. It was in the name all along. AXIZ at least picked up Rift Herald during that fight. But I think with the second quadra kill of the summer going over to Boogie,
Phenomenal.
who is now 5-0-1, this Lee Sin is set to level this game. Gary Aru has to be very afraid. Ace and Boogie looking to double up again.
Is he going to go for it? Oh, he is.
Think about it. There's a stun. Going to find that ward hop Q, but not going to go in. There's still the ultimate available. Might force it out. But no, Gario holds his nerve. Doesn't pop that chrono break. Ace, though, might for a bit of a stun. The Dark Spheres do time out. It'll just be that cleanse might need to be burned, actually. Sorry, as Ace is now in a lot of trouble. Falls down. Second death of the game to that mid laner. Good pick from the AXIZ squad there.
Again, though, Hoglet is forced to use Flash to find any form of pick, whereas Boogie isn't having to do that.
Paz on vision using that sweeper. Now looking to maybe find something with the crocodile in the bush. But nothing to be found. It gets Gary Aru on the board, though. He gets that kill onto Ace's Syndra. Stepping forward a little bit too aggressively, perhaps. But either way, 10 minutes have gone. And we've now got a 2,500 gold lead to V3, which is pretty huge at this time in the game. And more importantly, it's a completed Warrior Enchant and a Phage in inventory for this Lee Sin, who can fight who the hell he likes and probably win it right now.
Oh, 100%. He will just kill any and all. Hoglet, the only way Hoglet seems to be able to find any form of picks is by abusing Flash on Volibear with the Q for the stun. And you're not going to kill Paz onto turret. He's got Dominus up. He's just going to chill.
They're just looking for plates here, and they've got Rift Herald and inventory, so maybe looking for that. Actually, here does come the Dominus. Here comes the teleport as well. Ace looking to come up. That's a big stun in. There is the Stormbringer. A lot of health coming back for Hoglet now, but Reiner has roamed up as well. It is a 1 versus 3, and Natsume says, see you later, buddy. You're done.
They know exactly also where Natsume is. Oh!
Oh no! Boogie goes for the Krug Cap farm and instead finds an Aatrox. Reiner roaming up as well. Archer is here. And that is going to be a very, very dead mechanical dark in. Mecha Skin won't save you here. Reiner picks up that kill and the Happy Bee comes out. First kill involvement for Archer's like, guys, why aren't you playing around bot lane? You were supposed to be playing around me, man.
I mean, Boogie just found the new jungle camp that Riot haven't released yet. It's Aatrox in the jungle. He's the new jungle boss, you know? Enemy top lane, you know? Standard.
I think we need to have a word with our production about sarcastic commentary in the production notes, though, because yes, of course, that extra jungle camp we never talked about, the enemy top laner. Nymera, that's not okay. We've been over this. You can't bully AXIZ more when they're already getting bullied on the Rift. This is rough stuff to watch. And of course, we're joking around a little bit. We are joking around a little bit. And, you know, there's been moments that AXIZ have found something, but it's always been at the cost of V3 finding more. Maybe Archer, though, is in a difficult space. He's going to burn the cleanse, but it's not. It is enough, because, of course, there's a lantern available, and Reiner saves the life of this Ashe. No flash burned, and Archer types it all chat calculated, surely.
Oh, 100%. It's got to be the you'll get him next time. Get me next time. God, this is why Reiner wanted the Thresh, and Corporal probably wanted to take the Thresh away from him, but was forced upon the Leona as the Nautilus was also banned. Ay caramba.
No, you're the same level as this Lee Sin. He's got red buff. He's got challenging smite. He forces a flash out of this Aatrox. It's not done yet. He just needs to find another Q. Oh, misses it. Maybe gets straight around on a little bit here. Unyan does about a third to a half of Boogie's life. But that's the kind of space when Boogie can sit in the enemy jungle bush, just wait for someone to walk around. And all the while, Paz picks up a top lane turret.
And I mean, Archer's just still solo farming. He's now got about 10 gold lead. We could say he's got a 50 gold lead above Natsume, which is 50 CS lead above Natsume, which is kind of crazy. They're just pumping Archer full of farm and saying, mate, don't worry. We've already got Paz and Boogie kind of winning the game already. Now, if you want to farm up, we'll be able to have you hard carry us in the late game if we need it. And so that's what they're doing. They're just letting him farm.
They are, of course. V3 have picked up those 2 early Drakes. We are on an Infernal Rift. That means an Infernal Dragon will be spawning in just under 2 minutes, which V3 will surely be looking to fight. With their top laner and jungler so damn fed, they will absolutely have a smite advantage. Well, I was about to say I would have a smite advantage, but the camps have kept Hoglet relatively even here in the levels, so there is at least room for a steal. But I suspect AXIZ are going to have to think very carefully about whether they want to give up that Infernal Soul point. Hoglet, though, now being found, trying to farm up these Krugs. It would be a 2 versus 3 because Corporal's around the corner. And the Volibear got to walk away while Paz continues to push in a side lane on this Renekton.
No one can come up to it. Look at the 2-level disparity difference between Paz and Natsume. Yeah, just down. Just goes.
Big one.
Almost 5k gold. No, 3.5k gold difference between the two of them. Oh, I can't
contest. Here comes. That's going to be a fairly big one. Now Paz trying to find a Dominus fight, doing something, but that's the big, well, Deadly Flourish is what it was, but it's not going to be enough because the deadliest Flourish is the Cull, the Meek that gets a kill for Paz. He might finally fall here. Uinyan running away, does get the shutdown onto the Crocodile, but not before in the 1 versus 3, the Renekton picks up a kill. Here comes that Curtain Call, though, trying to get a kill onto the bot laner of Archer. Doesn't fight, he doesn't get the kill, though. 2 kills to Uinyan, doing all right so far on the gym, but it's nothing compared to the map pressure that V3 are putting down right now.
Yeah, like 3 members of the team for AXIZ had to go around just to even contest to kill Paz. This whole time, though, Ace was in the top lane just farming, Archer was in the mid lane farming, getting a higher experience lead, getting more gold packed into them. Boogie was just going around and taking the whole of AXIZ's jungle, and Infernal Drake is up.
Okay, well, the fight continues one way or another. It is that 4,000 gold lead for V3, but AXIZ, after that fight and the death of Paz, do in fact get to start up this Infernal Drake before Boogie and the rest of V3 can come and contest. They're going to try and get in here now, but I think they're just going to be too late. AXIZ do stop the dragon stacking. The response from V3, though, is to summon the Rift Herald in mid lane, the last remaining outer turret for AXIZ, now under siege.
Yeah, I mean, V3 are probably have just realized and gone, oh yeah, we haven't done that turret yet, have we? Huh. Let's do that. Let's get that. Let's just put 4 of us mid. We can probably just take it. We can just brute force it with the Rift Herald. And they do. They do.
It's all gone.
Just like that.
Gone. All right, 17 minutes into the game.
Oh.
The AI bot is showing exactly where this game state is at. Paz now sieging onto this bot top lane tier 2. It's a big stun onto Natsume, followed up by the Ash Arrow, and that'll be a kill for Ace, easy as you like. That'll be his first kill in that kill column. 4th turret falls down. AXIZ move down another 1,000 gold. It's now 5,000 in the lead for V3. And the item discrepancy is going to start adding up very soon. That's a use of the Solar Flare to try and get something onto Archer, but he's got cleanse and gets to walk away. Now Reiner goes golden, stops any more from Corporal. Look at the top side because the Volibear tried to find something, anything, and just falls down to the weight of the Crocodile.
So much damage has come from the side of E3. Also, how quickly they react to anything happening against them. Any and all members, immediately Reiner and Archer were together like glue, protecting one another, outputting all the damage, even though Corporal found a beautiful pick onto him. Doesn't seem to matter, and this is just what keeps happening across the map over and over and over again. Initialize. I'm struggling to find a way that AXIZ are going to be able to find any victory here.
Maybe they just have to keep doing what they're doing, because Archer at least now has no cleanse, still has no flash.
True.
Maybe the next time they get something. You can't blame AXIZ for looking for something, right? Like they've still got to try and find a way back into the game, finding a pick with the hard engage they do have. makes sense. The problem is that V3 are getting out, getting kills, and then finding towers and objectives off the end of it. So every time they look, they fall further behind. They need one of these plays to succeed before the game is well and truly out of reach. If it isn't already, they're down 7,000 gold, Lexi.
That's a huge gold differential at the 19-minute mark. That is the kind of gold lead difference where you look at it and go, I don't know how you recover that. If it's at the 25, 30-minute mark, you can kind of normally see that, okay, it's on one person or two people. If we can fight around that person or maybe get them out of the fight or pick them off, we can do it. The problem is, for AXIZ at the moment, V3, while it is heavily scaled onto Boogie and Paz at the moment, Ace has a lot of gold put onto him. You just have to look at the items he's got. Archer has been given so much time alone. Exactly, yeah, he's working on a death cap. That's how far ahead he is. And AXIZ,
Corporal's on vision, and it's just the two of them here. The rest of AXIZ aren't around. They were looking for a fight. There comes the curtain call. They do get 1-for-1 thus far, but the fight is continuing, and Boogie, still very, very strong, does get rooted in place by the deadly flourish. He's gone golden. He's got a lantern next to him. That's a good stun to prevent any follow-up. Now Paz, with the dominus running, is looking for the mother of all engages, but can't quite get close enough without the flash available to him.
So was that the best that I think it could have gone for AXIZ? Yeah. Maybe they could have killed Boogie. That huge 600 shutdown gold would have been almost immeasurably useful for the team of AXIZ. It would have been a lot of gold shared around the team, and it would have only put it down to about a 5k gold difference, which, when we were saying it was 7k only a few minutes ago, that's a good place. If you're able to recover 2k gold, that's a good start. That's definitely a place to pick up. Problem is, they weren't able to, and they need to do that 3 to 4 more times before they can definitely get something.
Well, we're going to see Natsume kind of run down with a couple of members of AXIZ to try and get onto Paz. Didn't work out, though. And, you know, you're kind of right, because if they had picked off Boogie, it's gone 20 minutes. There might have been room to maybe pressure around the Baron. That could have been an option. At least now Boogie doesn't have his stopwatch. The next time you go for him, and of course he has gone towards this Black Cleaver and Warrior and Tramp build. The tankiest Lee Sin you've ever seen in your life. There could have been room, maybe, just maybe, to try and find something resembling a Baron play there. But would have been a far-out call, and it isn't how it's worked out, because there is an Infernal Drake number 2 about to spawn onto the Rift in just under 30 seconds, and I think V3 might like to contest this one rather than going for the Rift Herald play that they don't have available this time. Yeah,
I think the obvious trade of opening up the mid lane is not an option to them this time round. They're just going to try and take the dragon and continue going through it. Obvious, cool thing to note, Gadiaru actually has a level advantage over Ace at the moment, but there's an engage coming.
Yeah, the arrow goes wide. Paz, though, is going to find his way into the backline. Gets knocked up briefly by the Darkin Blade. Paz still very, very tanky. Gadiaru in the backline has to ult back out. Here comes the curtain call, trying to get the kill on a Paz, but he's so damn tanky. It's 3 dead, even if Uinyan picks up 1. Natsume, Hoglet, and Corporal all fall in the back end of that fight, after some massive damage from the Lee Sin and the Syndra in that one.
Yeah, Gadiaru actually did go in, do a bunch of damage. Problem was, it was on to Archer, who's already healed most of it up, and he had to ult away to even think about being able to do any more form of re-engage. Dragon over to V3, and I'm expecting a lot more of this to come in as we get a gorgeous replay. It is unfortunate that that arrow goes wide, but Paz is able to do exactly his job. Ryder lands a beautiful ult, and you can see here, Gadio goes straight onto Archer, gets great damage, but has to go away because immediately the team starts soloing on him. Paz just tanks everything up. So much of that damage from the curtain call was just tanked by it, and that's what allows the team of V3 to just kind of be very confident that they can take this dragon without any form of contention. Boogie sitting with 8-0-5, 700 gold if you shut that man down. Do you think, now, Initialize, I'm going to ask you a question. Let's play a game. Do we think AXIZ can get Boogie dead before the end of this game?
Oh, man, that's hard to call. I will say yes, if only because Boogie will go in. Guaranteed he'll go in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's room for that. I mean, there's still a fair amount of damage on this gym, but as I say, that Hoglet getting caught out by the hook, he does find his way out thus far. Uinyan getting slowed down a little bit, but he is a very fast boy. Got himself to 2 items, nearly up to a third, and maybe there's room for Uinyan to find a carry. He's got 4 kills. Maybe there's room for this Echo at 2 items and getting further into the game to find something. They're going on to Paz. They're going to try and find something, but that is a Dominus, and here comes the rest of V3 looking to trade this around, and Natsume has to fly splash out of their attempted pick onto this Renekton.
The attempted pick onto Renekton was volleyed due to the fact that Dominus was too powerful, and apparently Paz can also 2v1 now. He's doing Appermen things now, which is always fun to see. We love it when our top laners do Appermen things. And
Do we? Because the other half of the Appermen thing is I'm going to die 1v3 because I didn't check.
Yeah, that's why it's fun. It's Appermen things. They either destroy the lane or they soft end. It's great. I like it because that's how I play top lane. You saw my top lane action. It's either I win or I hard in.
Yeah, you're welcome for the carry, buddy. But
looks like V3 are going to try and get rid of some of this vision that AXIZ have got in this top side so they can get ready for a Baron push at some point soon.
And we have also got to call out that at the minute, the map is looking mighty, mighty dark for AXIZ right now. And versus the vast pick of the Thresh, the Ashe, the Syndra, hell, the Ruthless Predator isn't a bad idea either as far as some way to stun people in place. You've got the Lee Sin, obviously. That's a lot of ways to walk into a bush and never walk out again.
So many ways. 2.5 minutes till we're going to be seeing the dragon popping back up.
Yeah.
Baron's alive, but AXIZ know if they dare even look at it funny, V3 might just collapse out of nowhere. Both TPs up for Paz and Ace, so lots of quick engage action, especially from Archer, having that Ashe ult and Boogie, basically doing what Lee Sins do best and be everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Yeah, and as I kind of called out, yeah, map's looking dark for AXIZ. They walked straight through their jungle, put down loads of wards, and tried to alleviate the issue they were seeing. So that's good on them. Well done. And making me look a little bit silly as well, which is not good on me.
They are professionals. They should do these things.
Yes, and especially obviously with Baron becoming more and more of a threat as this game goes on. I can see why that was a necessary decision to make. But now that V3 are back on the map and armed with their own wards, I'll be curious to see how much longer V3's vision lasts. As you can see, Ryan right on the top of your screen was just taking out a ward.
Yep, and well, I said 2 minutes, 30 seconds. It's now 1 minute almost now for that Infernal Dragon act. V3 can almost pretend to bait for this dragon, the Baron, while at the same time one member of their team of either Archer or Boogie or Paz could probably comfortably take this dragon, and AXIZ probably wouldn't be fully comfortable with actually going for it. AXIZ
looking for Natsume, they land the arrow, and there'll be the hook afterwards. That will be a dead top laner before the spawn of Infernal Drake. And more importantly, as they're all around Baron, now AXIZ have to think about fighting a 4 versus 5 at the Baron pit. And, well, vision be damned. Natsume is just caught out for his 6th death this game.
Yeah, not well played by him this time. Gadiadu has got TP, so if they finally spot this, they can come in and help this. They're coming in.
There's the curtain call, but there's the lantern out. Ace finds his way around. Boogie finds the kill onto Baron, and now the fight commences. V3 looking for more, looking to find something on the retreat from this Baron pit. Corporal might get caught out in the minions, caught in an awkward position, caught by a Syndra stun as Boogie claims another life this game. It's 17 kills to 6 in favor of V3, and they're looking to continue to chase through this red side jungle. The lantern out, and with AXIZ in full retreat, they're going to see the option to pick up Infernal Soul along with this Baron buff. It's secured, and V3, a 10,000 gold advantage at 27 minutes into this game, will reset, pick up as many items as they damn well can, and look to put AXIZ into an early grave.
If they don't do a death push, there are questions that we can definitely raise on our podcast about V3. If they don't do a death push now to win the game. If this game isn't over in the next 3 minutes, 4 minutes, V3 we'll have questions, yeah. But Baron buff 2 minutes, so questions be damned for the moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is a question I do want. Well, someone who will be asking the questions, though, will be Uinyan, who has now picked up an Infinity Edge. 3 items on this Jhin, 3 items on this Echo. Maybe, just maybe, that might get them an option, might get them an in, but it's going to be a snowball's chance in hell, and we're not exactly on ARAM here, and this is an Infernal Rift, so it's definitely a little bit too hot for comfort for AXIZ right now.
Okay, TPM from Paz into that bot lane. They're splitting the map aggressively.
All right, there comes the engage. Hoglet taken down about half HP. Reiner stunned up for a little bit, but does land the hook. Now Boogie in the backline gets a decent kickoff. That's going to be Ace picking up a kill onto that Jin. The one guy who was supposed to be asking questions is silenced far too quickly. And now Ace picks up a double. Paz is going to continue to chase onto Garriaro and try and get something. Garriaro is trying to clear out the wave. That's his one play here, but there's still enough minions for V3 with the Baron buff offering protection and Archer down in this bot side getting onto Hoglet, who's trying to ult away, but the slows from the Rangers focus get Ash another kill. It's 9-0-8 for Boogie. It's 4-2 and 11 for AXIZ Syndra. It's just a game that is all but over. AXIZ find their way finally into the base of V3 in the hands of Garriaro, but only as a kind of last momentary hurrah before they all fall down to an ace. And V3 will go 8-0. They will go undefeated. AXIZ will go 0-8. And next time we return to the LJL, V3 versus DFM will be a matchup to pay attention to, because you got to remember, Lexi, this could be the chance to beat DFM's spring split undefeated streak. Wow, V3.
This spring split, that summer split, that everything. V3 might be looking to make a record in the LJL, but we've got a lot of thoughts in regards to that and more around this game. Moving forward, we're going to go on a short break and we'll be right back with all of them beautiful thoughts.
Whoa, we are halfway there. We're not Bon Jovi. With the LJL officially unofficial, we are done with week 4 of the LJL. It has been finished. And who else was finished? It was AXIZ falling to V3. V3 have gone 8-0, undefeated so far, taking down every team in this first round robin, and then of course taking down AXIZ for this second time. What this leads me to, guys, gentlemen, is that how do we compare this current V3 iteration and on this form to Spring DFM, which did go on that 9-game winning streak, rather? Sam, I know you're a big follower, fan, and believer in DFM for various reasons, and good reasons, of course. They are a 7-time winners here in the LJL. What's your first thoughts on this take? Are V3 matching them? Have they surpassed them in any regards? How do they compare to Spring DFM?
So this is a bit of a question we kind of have to be a bit careful with, right? Because it's inherently results-based, right? We're looking at an 8-0 win streak versus an 8-0 win streak, and we're kind of like trying to work what that means. And the similarities are there to be drawn because, once again, we have a team in the league that is crushing everybody else. I think probably there is definitely similarities to be drawn, and V3 are looking very, very good, especially considering it feels like the level of the league has largely stepped up. compared to Spring as well. A lot more consistency around most teams. So I think V3 look very damn strong. The difference I might call to, though, is that V3 still play or kind of revolve around Boogie a lot. You know, it's Boogie turning up to duo with Ace. It's Boogie turning up in a bot lane to put pressure down there. It's Boogie turning up top to try and turn around ganks. And he's still kind of whatever the game plan, he kind of feels like the way they revolve around, which is perhaps a difference to the way DFM look.
Yeah, another difference, if I might add, is something like if you look back to Spring DFM, they had to problem solve their way out of a number of games. So Ebby backdooring maybe twice. I think there was the Rascal Jester game. Then one where he's on Gangplank, which I can't remember remember the thing with that. There is a parallel with V3 fighting their way back into the game against DFM. But if we're comparing that kind of thing, what do you think the hallmarks of this V3 team have been, Lexi?
I mean, just sheer dominance, playing around each other, complete commitment to any pick or they get. The team aggressively plays around each other. They've only looked slightly stumbled versus one team, which was DFM, in all fairness to them, and the credit was given. Check out our podcast on that one. I believe it's episode 21. It's a very good intro. We have a very good discussion around that, and it is true. The only time V3 have looked remotely challenged by any of these teams was DFM, who took it to them, but then V3 were able to come back from a 7k gold disparity, which is just how strong they're playing. And this is also saying Cross Gaming Act is 6-1, and V3 weren't too concerned about them in their matchup. I'm thinking the performance that V3 are putting on is pure dominance, but in reflection to what we're comparing apples to apples here, DFM looked arguably just as dominant. They had to play around, and maybe their drafts weren't as clean. But if you look at me and how I like to look at Spring is a different beast to Summer. You try and do the cleaner thing in Summer. You want to do more experimental in Spring. And if anything, I'd love to have seen these teams on peak form playing against each other.
We might get that. We might get that in playoffs. We might get that on our week back when we come back from this multi-week break. Do need to take some time to talk about AXIZ, of course, the other team in this game. At what point should they be thinking about making changes? Is this still holding out for visas for Hyde and Coach Yang to come back? Or is this at the point where they're thinking, look, anything is better than our 0 and 8. We need to just try and shake things up?
Well, you got to find something, right? Because while there has been improvements this week in the way they're playing the game, I think they look a little bit more cohesive. They are still struggling in sort of getting picked off at random points, and Natsume in particular, that game got caught out a lot. And around objective, around those kind of like 15-minute objective marks, well, they're losing fights they just damn well shouldn't be. This game, they lost a 3v5 around the Herald. What the hell?
And speaking of that 3v5, you're talking about the seventh circle of hell. It's an infernal rift. Well, turns out the Doomslayer has Greystar screens, and it was Boogie all along. Turns out he is Doom Guy, and he gets a quadra kill in that 3v5 around the top side of the map. Either of you feel like you want to walk me through that set of plays?
I mean, in all fairness, before we go any further walking through, he joins once. Another jungler. Jungle diff? Maybe? I don't know. Maybe junglers are just the only people that can get quadra kills, unless you're Arya and you're denied your quadra / penta. That's fine. So this was hugely problematic from AXIZ. So the big problem for it was a 3v3. For most of that fight. It was just a flat 3v3, and V3 were far and above ahead in a lot of that fight. Boogie and all of V3 had already gone back recently for items, and they had reset recently before this fight. So they were at the max they were going to be. AXIZ had not. But that's not a huge thing. Problem was, V3 just got the complete engage onto them. Eunyan basically got, not Eunyan, Eunyan and Corporal came in afterwards, but they basically did a 2v2. Yes, they were able to kill Ace, but at what cost of how much?
At the cost of rip and tear until it is done playing in the background. Speaking of Eunyan and Corporal, they played Jin Leona this game. We saw a couple of times this work out, but Sam, what's your take on this particular duo that was locked in for AXIZ?
I think it kind of made sense, at least in terms of like, okay, this offers us a good combo that we can catch people out and try and blow them up. And actually, in fairness, I think both of them played pretty well. Problem was that I think it snowballed so far away from them, particularly in the top side. Like you saw 2-1 and 3, 5-0-1 when they were kind of looking to fight with Paz and Boogie respectively. And it's like, well, what do we actually do here? Because we just don't have the damage despite playing okay. I still think that even when they tried to find picks onto people, though, there were enough tools available to V3 to get them outright. Like they burned the cleanse and the flash out of Archer and then couldn't return to it. They burned the stopwatch off Boogie around the jungle and can't return to it. And the play in and of itself makes sense, but you've got to return. You've got to try and find something. But every time they tried, they would just lose something, right? They'd lose towers.
And they were also losing in the side lanes too, and they tried to collapse on individual members, notably Paz on that Renekton. I think he pulled off a 1v3, 1-for-1, all things said and done at points during that game. Guy was a monster on that Crocodile. I think it's about time we start wrapping things up, guys, because games are over, games are done. We've got some time to go away, have a think about what we're going to do with the LJL and our podcasts and all this other stuff. V3, AXIZ, the rest of the league, what are your thoughts on this first half of LJL Summer 2020?
In all fairness, expectations were blown away. My predictions are dead in the water at this current moment in time.
All of them are.
All of them, actually. I don't think I've got a single one right. So that just shows the level of play that has come out from some of the members and players on these teams has been phenomenal. And I'm more than fine with being wrong, because in my head, and my prediction was it was going to be a DFM snooze fest. It's not. Everything's competitive. We have 4 teams that could genuinely win the league and go to Worlds, and I would probably be very happy with it. I'm hyped, in all fairness.
For me, I am wondering whether we stole the script from Europe right now, because it feels like our top 2 teams are sort of like doing questionable things, and these other guys who are just a little bit below them have stepped up and some have found good ways to play the meta at the minute. We've got this pair of sleeping giants, so to speak, in Sengoku and DFM. We've like had good moments, had inconsistently bad moments. We haven't got a Fnatic who's like really gone off. Then again, there was a 0-2 week from DFM this week, so maybe similarities continue to abound, and it keeps things really exciting. So maybe you just need to watch the LEC to find out what happens in the LJL.
Watch the LEC. You heard it here. No, you didn't hear it.
No, don't hear. Watch the LJL.
Watch the LJL. So watch our coverage of the LJL. We're still here. We'll be here for the entirety of the rest of the split. Only us. Yeah, no, there is no other broadcast. There's no Japanese broadcast. No, there is, of course, a Japanese broadcast. And I think I have to just echo the sentiments from both you guys. I don't think any of us expected this split to go the way it has done so far. And for me, it's all to the better of it, right? Even as someone who is a colorcaster and analyzes the game to some degree, you love seeing the things which make you intrigued, make you slightly off your rocker sometimes. You're sat there like, I have no idea how that worked. Why did that work? And you have to sit down and look at the gameplay and think, how did that work? And we're going to have so much time to do that. Of course, that won't be the last you'll hear from us in the last couple of weeks. We'll be doing our podcast. We'll be doing some extra content on the side here and there as well. But for now, from me, from Nightmare, from Initialize, and from Alexi, otherwise known